All right, Brock, what are some big mistakes some commercial investors make?
So mistake number one is just not knowing the current market, skipping market research, or not being knowledgeable on the trends, the current trends.
Yeah, imagine you bought at the end of 2019, or you're buying going into COVID office space, right? And
Oof.
you're like, man, I never considered what COVID was going to do to office, and now office is recalibrating.
Yeah.
Recalibrating.
It's a good word.
Yeah, that's the best one, right? So that's an obvious example, but there are other trends that are taking place that in each vertical that are super important.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I mean, we're experiencing this in industrial, right? Like industrial with onshoring, we think there's a big upside into the future on that.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
What would you say number two is?
Probably underestimating expenses.
Yeah.
Insurance, property taxes, things of that nature.
CapEx, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people, a couple of the things I know you've gone on, like roof costs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, right? Like just crazy what the roof costs will be. Because some of these roofs have been on there for, I think the one I walked was 50 years that roof had been up there.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
There's some old roofs in Macomb County, that's for sure.
And so that could be $100, $150, $200,000 or more on a bigger building in terms of repairs. And, that's a decent chunk of change when you're looking at $1 million to $1.5 million building.
Absolutely.
What's number three?
Number three, I would say, would probably be poor tenant screening. I think a lot of these owners get vacancies and they get real excited and eager to fill them up quickly without doing proper screening. Unfortunately, a lot of these owners are putting some unqualified tenants in some long-term deals, and we're seeing in a lot of situations that doesn't always pan out the greatest.
Yeah, and I'll go one. Maybe they do find the good tenant, but then they never raise rent on them.
No, we're seeing
crazy.
that over and over again. We
Crazy.
talked about that, a couple weeks ago. How undervalued a lot of these buildings are because of the lack of fair market value from these tenants.
And to me, that's a costly mistake.
That's a huge mistake.
Right? I mean, if you're at half rent versus what you could be. So you put a bad tenant in, that's a problem. You have a good tenant in, but you don't at least try to pace, even if it's below market rent, somewhat close to market rent, you're leaving so much money on it.
Yeah, and that's why who you hire really does matter. The broker that you use really does matter. We negotiate all those terms for our owners so that they don't have to think about that or look at that. We cover it with, rent increases, timely rent increases with based on our projections for the future market. So we take care of all that for our owners and clients.
What'd you say mistake number four is?
Probably over leveraging. Taking on way too much debt, increasing financial risk, things of that nature.
Yeah.
I think like we talked about roof, there's a lot of things that windows, foundation issues, there may be a crane issue or a truck well issue. I think there's just a lot of hidden issues sometimes that people don't foresee.
All right, what would you say number five is in terms of mistakes?
So I would probably say, poor planning for an exit strategy.
Yeah.
A lot of owners are selling buildings and they don't know what they're going to do afterwards, right? So whether it be a 1031 exchange, hey, we're going to get hit with these big capital gains tax bills. What do we do? We have several unique strategies that we work with our owners through to save on capital gains tax and help them plan for their future. Because we're not just brokers. We want to be, a mentor. We want to be a financial somebody that you can lean on as well. So
yeah, help them out with taxes. That's usually everyone's biggest expense. If you have any other questions about what costly mistakes any commercial investors make, go ahead and reach out. We'd love to chat with you. If you want additional content, go ahead and like and subscribe. Thanks.